Jen?
Yeah, well, you guys have to.
1 minute.
My way.
Oh. I know. You're supposed to.
Gotta keep her in line. How's that going? Not well. Not well.
Let me know as a time.
Yeah, no. We're 23 years in of the marriage. More paper? And I grew up.
Take it all away.
We were friends. We were.
Okay. All right, I'd like to call this meeting of February 3rd, 2020 of the Township of Springfield Planning Board to order. Adequate notice has been given in accordance with the Sunshine Law. Notice was published on December 12th, 2019 in the local Source and the Star Ledger, the official newspaper of the Township of Springfield for 2020, and posted in the annex on December 13th, 2019. Can we please have a roll call? Well, let's salute to the flag.
There you go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Can we have a quick roll call?
Committeeman Rich Huber, absent. Mr. David Barnett.
Here.
Mr. Andrew Schwartz.
Present.
Mr. Jerry Fernandez.
Here.
Ms. Sylviane Grisbowski. Here. Mr. Aaron Loffer is absent. Mr. Brian Brendel is absent. Ms. Marissa Ruggiero. Here. Mr. Scott Wishna.
Here.
Scott, if you want to move.
We have a chair
You
here.
can all move over.
Rick.
Vice Chair Kessel. Here. And Chairman Tiger.
Scott, if you want to move over, Rich is
Yeah, Rich is not here.
Just move over, it's fine. Okay, perfect, we have enough
A
people.
quorum, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so everyone had the minutes of the November, we did not have a December meeting, and the January 2020 meeting minutes that were out there. Anyone have any questions or concerns? So I'm going to separate it because I know you weren't here in January, to make it really easy. So, you have a motion to approve the November 2019 meeting minutes.
Make a motion to approve November 2019 minutes.
Marissa seconding it, yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstain?
I believe I abstained on November.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the next one is the January 2020 meeting minutes. Everyone had a chance to review it. Any questions, concerns?
Nope.
Marissa, you want to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the January 2020 minutes.
Anyone want to second it?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone abstain?
Abstained.
Abstain, no one opposes? Okay, good, perfect. Okay, next one is resolution, it's for resolution, it's the Tesla 685 Turnpike Wawa site, application 14-2019S. This was preliminary and final site plan for bulk variances. If everyone's aware, this was the application for charging stations. Anyone have any questions, concern, review the resolution?
Nope.
Nope? Okay, so in this case, can I have a motion to approve the resolution?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of application 14-2019S for Tesla Inc. preliminary and final site plan and a bulk variance.
I'll second.
Can I have a roll call?
Mr. Barnett.
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero.
Yes.
Mr. Wishna.
Abstain.
Abstain. Vice Chair Kessel.
Yes.
And Chairman Tiger.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Perfect. Okay, so we're going to do, I just want to go through a few things first. So anyone that's here for application, just that way they're not here, 1-2020S, this is LL Ford LLC for 35 Stern Avenue, Block 3101, Lot 9. This will be carried to March 2nd, 2020, in this room at 7 p.m. So if anyone's here for this application, this will not be heard until next meeting, March 2nd, same time, 7 p.m. Also, if anyone else is here for application 11-2015S, this is for Morris and Central LLC, 259 to 279 Morris Avenue, 719 Caldwell Place, 1428 Center Street, Block 705, lots 10 and 17. This is also carried to the same thing, March 2nd, 2020, 7 p.m. with no further notice to the public.
Hold on 1 second on that one. Jen, how much time, just so we have it on the record, do we have on the Morrison Central?
We have until March 12th.
Okay, so we have to make a decision on that one way or the other?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly, by then, or get an extension of time. Good, yeah, okay, well, that's fine. Let's go back to resolution, let's go back to administrative review, Universal Tools, 115 Victory Road, Block 3101, Lot 9. This is, Mr. Disco, this is for a site plan waiver with rooftop solar installation?
That's correct.
Yes, do you want to bring up the applicant, or is this something you're discussing with us? You're going to discuss and let us know.
Essentially, Keenan and I met with the applicant, showed us the plans, and they went to the ordinance. Keenan put a letter that you should have, and it's very straightforward, and so we would be requesting a waiver on it.
So you feel it meets all the conditions that are outlined in our ordinance for it?
It's the same thing?
Same thing, I'm just passing down a few more. In case anyone, we have 1 minute, or just to go through this?
Can I just ask, Mike, how are we handling this? Kind of like you're doing with the cell towers, you guys meet and then you make recommendations?
Our ordinance does permit it,
Right.
and so it goes through the TRC process. And if they comply with all of the conditions that are in the ordinance, then the ordinance allows us to have the site plan. We could always decide something's a little strange on this one, or maybe these trees coming down, and send them to the board, but this one seems to be straightforward, there's no,
And that's why you issue these letters, just like you
Yep.
did on the cell tower stuff.
Yep.
So you make specific findings, these become, there's no reason that the board needs to adopt a resolution. What they're doing is they're adopting the letter that, I guess Keenan prepared dated January 3rd, 2020. That goes in the file, that's the record, that's the basis of giving the waiver.
Okay.
Site plan, right?
So no one on the board doesn't have any questions, so we're just going to go.
I just wanted to do that because I don't remember having done that last year. I don't think we had one, so I just wanted to get the process through so everyone understands what the guys are doing.
Okay.
we've had 2 solars in the last couple of months, right?
Yeah, it's crazy, and charging stations too next, so. Okay, so let's go over to the application, then we'll do the executive session and the fence ordinance revisions right afterwards. So the next one is application 15-2019S. This is for Atlantic Federal Credit Union 2, 8 Edison Place, 7 Edison Place. Block 301, Lot 2, and Block 210, Lot 2, for preliminary and final site plan with both variances.
How much pen?
No, I like it. It is. I like
Good
it.
evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Matthew Capizzi on behalf of the applicant, Atlantic Federal Credit Union. This is a project that concerns 2 pieces of property. One is at 2-8 Edison Place, which is a piece of property improved with a 2-story office building and 2 surface parking lots. It also concerns 7 Edison Place, which is a property directly across the street from 2-8, and it serves as an auxiliary parking lot for the tenants of 2-8 Edison Place. Atlantic Federal Credit Union is a credit union that serves both Essex and Union counties. Their administrative back offices are presently located in Kenilworth in the building that they rent. Atlantic Federal purchased this property about a month ago with the intention of relocating its back office operations here to Springfield, with the idea of potentially opening a local branch either in Springfield or one of the neighboring municipalities. This property will not be used for any kind of customer service-oriented transactions. No banking transactions will take place at this location, strictly just back office. As a result of our desire to move into this building and really make this our permanent location for many years to come, we're going to renovate the entirety of the building, give it a facelift on the exterior, make some site improvements relative to lighting, landscaping, restriping, resurfacing the 2 parking lots. Essentially, it's just really a refresh for the building to serve our purposes. The site as it stands today, the building itself is non-conforming as to the rear yard setback. As a result of part of the addition we're proposing this evening on the 2nd floor, we're going to continue the same setback with our 2nd floor addition. Therefore, there is a variance to continue that non-conforming condition. There's a dumpster that's located in the front yard on 2-8 Edison. Right now, it's in an open area with no enclosure. What we're seeking to do this evening is really just a formal PVC enclosure, which we think clearly will result in an aesthetic improvement to that, shielding that dumpster from the streetscape. And because of the nature of our business and the banking component of it, as well as the service of our other tenants, we're proposing a generator, which will be to the rear of the building, but is proposed to be landscaped. So those are really the 3 variances. The dumpster is considered an accessory structure, the generator is considered an accessory structure, and your zone does not permit accessory structures in a commercial zone.
Hold on. We've required dumpster variances?
No, dumpsters are not considered accessory. But the generator.
The generator, I'm not arguing about.
We were cautious in our approach.
I think.
Was it the
no, that-
dumpster or the dumpster enclosure?
Doesn't
The
matter.
structure?
We've never required any kind of variance like that unless it encroached upon a setback or something else. So I think you ought to throw that request in the garbage.
That's fine, so we'll amend our application to omit the request for that variance. We still maintain a request for the other stuff generator.
As you should.
So that's our application in a nutshell. We have our engineer and architect here this evening. If the chairman would like, I can pull my...
Yeah, let's go for a brief overview.
Sure.
Glenn will swear them in.
Mr. Dykstra, raise your right hand. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God.
I do.
What would your name be?
Kenneth Dykstra, Dyksstra.
And by whom are you employed?
Dykstra Walker Design Group,
And where are you located?
Jefferson Township, Morris County.
Ken, what's your, you've never appeared, I don't think you have.
Not before this board, no.
Okay, what's your professional licenses and educational background?
Yes, I have professional licenses in professional engineering, professional surveying, and professional land surveying, and professional planning, all valid in New Jersey.
And you regularly prepare applications and appear before boards all
Yes,
over North
I do.
Jersey, pretty much?
Oh, yeah, basically North Jersey, my
And,
range,
and they're all, like going further south than here, pretty much. And-
part of drive.
And they're all valid as of tonight, right?
That's correct.
Anybody have any questions on Mr. Dykstra's
No.
expertise? And you've been doing it for how many years, Ken, or?
More than 30.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can I see you have an exhibit on easel there before you begin your testimony? You wish to identify our board, please?
Yes, this,
It's not marked yet.
It's not, it's got crayons.
this is a colorized version of sheet 3 of 6 of the plans that were submitted. And
Can you
have your
talk into the
packages.
mic? Can you talk into the mic? And let's mark that A1.
Okay. Yeah, A1 will be, it's the site layout plan, sheet 3 of 6, the submitted package dated October 22nd, 2019. So it's the same plan you have in your packages, except we've added the colorings to it. Yes, and if you'd like, I do have some smaller versions that we could pass out if that is helpful.
That would be nice. You can continue.
Ken, can you take us through the existing conditions of both lots, please?
Yes. So the subject property involves 2 lots, both located with access from Edison Place. And effectively, Edison Place has, it's basically 4 lots, 3 of them improved with buildings, kind of a industrial and office, small industrial office park. Our subject lot that contains the building is known as Block 301, Lot 2, and that's the lot that has actually 3 frontages: Springfield Avenue, Main Street, and Edison Place. And that lot is 59,304 square feet in size. The lot to the north, on the other side of Edison Place, is known as Block 210, Lot 2, and that's a 18,058 square foot lot that contains a 26 lot space parking lot only. So that's improved with a parking lot, no buildings. The building on, the existing building is basically a 20,099 square foot building. It's partial entire first floor and a partial second floor. And then basically we have paved parking lot with 2 access points to Edison Place on that lot. So I think that the total existing parking count, when you add both properties, I think we're at 87 existing spaces.
What's the condition of the parking lots?
The condition is, they're rather in poor condition now. There's a lot of cracks, and, basically they're in need of renovation, or milling and overlay is really probably what's going to be accomplished in the near future, assuming the application's approved.
So we'll add that as a condition.
Yes.
That's fine.
To work with our board engineer on coming up with a plan of,
That's right. And basically what we're doing is, the only change to the site from a physical standpoint is there's about 113 square foot enclosure for the front entryway from Edison Place. And then we're going to have instead of pavement, we're going to have a concrete area for next to that. And then there's going to be a doorway on the north end of the building, which requires a sidewalk. And then I'll call it behind the building, but on the east side of the building, there's going to be a generator pad that's about 65 square feet in size to support a proposed generator for backup purposes served by natural gas. So essentially, from an impervious cover standpoint, I'll get right to that. We're only adding 140 square feet of impervious cover to the lot, which is really de minimis. So we're not proposing any drainage improvements because it's such a minor amount. The building itself will be, right now it's 20,099 square feet. We're adding about 2,200 square feet, and most of that's a second floor addition of 2,048 square feet. So the building, when renovated, will basically go from 21,000 to 22,261 square feet. So a minor increase in square footage. And the applicant, Atlantic Federal, is going to occupy approximately 15,600 square feet of this building, and the balance of 6,600 square feet will be rented out or leased out to tenants. So from a parking standpoint, we do show restriping to up to 90 spaces, which would technically meet the requirement for that building size based on your ordinance. Basically, four spaces for every 1,000 square feet of office is your requirement.
are you adding parking?
Well, yeah, we've shown restriping to get up to the required number of spaces. But however, we'd like to just not restripe every one of the spaces. I had a discussion with the engineer
Yeah, that's what I
today.
was gonna say.
And because some of our aisle widths are deficient existing, there's 5 spaces that we proposed parallel along the building. We'd like the approval for those, but we don't think we're going to need them. We'd rather not stripe them. That leaves you much better maneuvering area to get to the other spaces. And there's one space next to our dumpster enclosure that we'd like to hatch out, and not because it creates a conflict when they come to collect the waste.
So can I have a question? So do you feel, because I know this was one of your areas in your letter that you feel, is this one of the areas where is it a variance that they would need for less parking, but the benefits of having less make it more maneuverable
Yes,
throughout the site?
assuming the testimony on employee levels
Yeah.
is such that it would allow for it.
Yeah, well, this,
Alternatively, if we could bank those stalls
Yes. That's
and essentially have them approved in principle, and then should it become necessary, we can always strike the lot to add them, which I would think would
I think,
essentially.
that's what I think we were getting.
Sure.
that's what we'd like. We'd like the deviations for the aisle widths and have the ability to, for instance, if we get a tenant that really needs the extra spaces, then we'd like the ability to stripe them. But Atlantic Federal, they have proposed 50 employees, and they're taking up the lion's share of this building. So that leaves me with 6,600 square feet of additional space. Basically, the requirement is only, for the tenants, only 27 spaces based on your ordinance. So we really only need 77 spaces, but we have some handicaps, so add those. Really, we're low 80s is what we need, and that's what we'll have with this, without striping those 6 spaces.
So let's hear when we hear about the employees and so forth, we'll be able to get a better decision, the board.
Okay.
But I think that's where it's looking towards. Continue.
Unfortunately, the CFO, president of Atlantic Federal, couldn't be with us this evening. He had planned to be here, but he had the medical emergency, so we don't have a representative per se. I have spoken to.
So maybe you can maybe you can give some guidance, at least what was said. Is
Just
that
make a proffer, counsel.
proper?
Certainly.
You know? I'm not trying to spot you.
No, approximately 50 to 55 employees we'll have. We operate Monday through Friday. No real visitors per se. As I said, we don't transact any customer-related kind of business here. Deliveries would be standard for any kind of general office through Staples or Amazon vehicle. But really, as Mr. Dykstra said, 50 to 55 vehicles is what we anticipate on the high end.
you've been sworn, you heard the proffer, you're familiar with the application, is that correct?
That's right.
Do you disagree with anything that Matt just represented on the record?
No, that's exactly what I was saying. There's basically 50 employees, and we really don't get visitors. So, yeah, I think with 90 minus the 6 spaces, 84 spaces will be striped. I think that's more than adequate for this office building.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good. Mike, do you want to kind of give some information before we open up to the board? So that way.
On the
Any,
parking?
yeah, no, any questions or anything that you had with your letter? Because I'm sure you had a chance to review the letter.
Yes.
Is there, rather than walk through it item by item, is there any, I'm sure you're willing to agree to everything in the letter?
That's correct.
Okay. Is there any-
Yeah, but I did discuss drainage. I don't think, we'd like to, because it's such a negligible change in impervious coverage, I don't think there's any need to provide drainage calculations or drainage
Are you
measures.
planting Mike, are there trees on the site? Planting, any plantings?
There's plantings around the generator.
Okay, well, so you think that would offset some of the drainage to,
Certainly doesn't hurt.
doesn't hurt?
I mean, they may also consider perhaps some of the front entrance could be a permeable paver type, and that wouldn't even count as lot coverage, so it would actually decrease. But I'm perfectly happy to have it discussed.
Yeah, I don't want to make it a maintenance issue
Yeah.
too, for a small square footage. We can hear what the
They
board is.
consented to paving, milling and paving a
Yeah.
lot, that was an issue. The elimination of the spaces along the building, I think, is a positive step, because one of the spaces was blocking the walkway that you get to the building, so I think on balance, he's addressed all the needs.
Okay. Keenan, anything?
No, not really. I mean, from a planning standpoint, the site exists today, we're dealing mainly with non-conforming conditions, so it's an opportunity to upgrade the site. So it's both architecturally and then with the site itself. So I think particularly repaving the parking lots will be beneficial from an aesthetic standpoint, because they're very visible.
Okay. I just want to put a time frame on that, when it would be repaved, so it's not open-ended. Maybe it's not where you don't move in, but there's some things, so I'm going to leave it to you to work that out with our engineer.
Very good.
I think you ought to just get a feel for it, Mr. Chairman.
So
Have
what,
any idea
I think
when
we're
this is gonna happen?
anticipating on getting in there. April of 2021 is when we plan on taking occupancy, so all the site work will be done by then.
oh, yes, plenty of time, 2020. Okay, so then the paving will be completed before you get a CO then at that point in time?
That's not an issue, that's fine.
Okay, good. Okay, Marissa? Sorry, I should have told you it was coming your way.
I'm okay for now.
Okay.
Sil? Scott?
Just a couple quick things that I wasn't sure about. So there's the space that Atlantic Federal Credit Union is not occupying in the building is 6,600 square feet?
Approximately.
Okay, and there are tenants in existence today. Your client didn't buy an empty building, correct?
That's correct.
It's fine.
Okay, so of the remaining space, do we know what kind of parking load is required by the existing tenants in addition to the 55?
We know we have 3 tenants in the building today. We're in discussion with 2 of them to remain. Whether in actuality they do remains to be seen, but there's a high probability that 2 of the tenants will be there, and their parking loads are relatively light.
So,
We haven't done a
But
parking
and,
study.
and so that, the existing tenant, the existing tenancy represents the balance of the square footage? There's no other vacancy
Just that-
today, right? Just the 6,600 that,
Well, we're not occupying the building as of yet.
right.
Right,
but-
so the 6,600 is a post-build scenario.
Yes.
Once we're in possession.
Okay. And then I guess my other question is, there's this commercial building next to you. I'm assuming this is a shared, there's no access between the paved lot and the lot at the next
Yeah.
building?
You're referring to Lot 1,
Yeah.
Block 301, that's the
Right.
Iron Workers Building? Yeah, there's a separation between those 2 lots.
So you have to go back out onto Edison.
That's right.
The concern was overflow parking then occupying your spaces. Okay, so I'm good there. No further questions.
Seems pretty straightforward to me.
generator, where is it located and when you're going to run it and test it?
Okay, the generator is located in on the easterly side of the building, and it's about 95 feet from actually Springfield Avenue, behind the parking lot for the adjacent building that fronts on Springfield Avenue, which is and that building actually has parking under it, so their actual offices are at a higher level. And there is a tree line along our property line, between that parking lot and our building already. And there is one small gap where the generator is. We're going to add some evergreens in that location to further screen it. So I think its position is fine. It'll meet the requirements for a generator and whatever your construction official requires for a permit. Exercising will probably be during daytime hours, so you're at the higher decibel rating time. And it's all commercial here, even across the street. There's a furniture store. You got Springfield Avenue, and then.
So let's just exercise it
Yeah,
most of the time during the day.
Yeah, that's right. So.
It's not, I do mine at 10:30 in the
No,
morning.
not you.
Residential, it's.
But resident,
Yeah, I thought you had 10 to 2 on the generators, so that it was just during the daytime, Monday through Thursday or something. Does that sound?
It's weekdays.
it's weekdays, but
They-
they're in a
they
commercial
tend to
area.
focus on the
I
broadband.
think middle during the day, you got to come up with that with the engineer.
Yeah, it would definitely be during the day hours, and frankly, there is quite a bit of noise here, especially with the highway right there already. So you got a lot of background noise. I don't think you're going to notice this generator.
Okay.
We were contemplating potentially fencing it in. We're not sure about that. If the client decided to do that, I don't know if the installation of a fence around the generator would also require a variance. But in the event we decided to fence it, if we can have the resolution speak to that, that would be ideal.
Mike, I don't know, wouldn't, right? As long as it's not
I think it's okay.
yeah,
I mean, we don't want chain link fences, essentially.
yeah.
Well, we can work with Mr. Disco as to
Okay.
extend it to
Okay.
type of fence you would like,
Jerry?
or to bollard.
Okay, yeah, you work it out.
What exactly, the minor lot coverage increase, right? How much are we talking?
140 square feet. So most of that is actually the generator pad,
Right.
65 square feet, and this walkway on the north side of the building to a new exit door that's required.
Mike, that's insignificant, right?
If you took the area of the property and did a calculation before and after, it's going to be the same essentially. So
Okay.
Yeah.
the minimus term would apply.
Okay, that's fine, just the runoff issue is always
Yep.
an issue in this town.
Yeah, the existing coverage is over 38,000 square feet, and we're adding 140, so
Okay.
very small.
Andrew?
What is the nature of the two tenants who you're hoping stay?
General office.
That's all I have.
Sharon? Okay, don't go anywhere, just stay. We're going to take your next witness, because any member of the public, we're going to do all at once.
Great.
Okay? That's your last witness?
That's correct, Mr. Chairman.
We're giving out some handouts right now while we take the oath.
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, things before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
What is your name, sir?
Charles Otis Logan, Jr.
What's your professional credentials, Charles?
I'm a licensed architect, state of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania.
You can go.
By whom are you employed?
The Aztec Corporation, Aztec Architects LLC, I'm the president and CEO.
And you have a license in New Jersey?
Yes, I do.
And what do you normally do?
We plan and design between 4 and 5 million square feet of space per year all around the country, mostly in the New York metropolitan area, including New Jersey. The planning boards that we've been,
That's fine. I think you're good. Any board have any objections? I want them all.
okay, thank you very much.
I got one.
Okay, can we describe just real quickly, Counselor, what's in this so it can be marked?
What you have is exactly what you've been presented in a larger copy, with the exception of the renderings in the rear of the
Let me
packet.
just remark this as like 8.
That way, you don't have to be turning a lot of large pieces of paper. We try to make it easy for everybody.
Get on.
Everyone
Okay.
does this. Why doesn't everyone do this?
I know, this is great.
We like the KISS method. Okay, as was pointed out earlier, the building is located, excuse me, let me get my pointer so that way I get the camera working. What we're doing is we're actually adding this small piece of building here, which is a 2-story atrium. On the second floor, we're adding this dark area, and that is the extent of the addition to the building. That square footage was already addressed as it relates to your parking requirements, so that add is still within the guidelines of the quantity of the parking spaces. Everybody understand? Right here on the rear, there's an exit. All we're doing is adding a sidewalk from that exit to the parking lot. So there is a landing there. So really, this is not really being added. It's what's being added is the sidewalk connection. There's another egress here, which already has a sidewalk. And in the front, what we're doing is connecting these sidewalks so that it's clean and it's updated. That's the extent of the exterior access to the building itself. Like to take you to the interior of the building. I know there's a lot of discussion about the square footage on the first floor. The first floor is going to be a multi-tenanted space. So this half, or this 2/3 of this building is actually going to be occupied by the owner of the building. This area is going to be multi-tenanted, so that square footage that we're talking about actually will have common areas, so you won't even have tenant space in that area. You'll have it just on the front and the back of the building itself. So the main entry will be here. We're adding a 2-story elevator, which will be ADA compliant. The existing stairs are going to be replaced and made compliant. We're actually moving the boiler and reducing that area, and, I'm sorry? I apologize. And so we're also bringing the building up to code, current code with the restroom counts and fixture counts. I know that's not planning board, but I just want to let you know. That's taking up more space of the existing building and reducing the amount of usable area. So that square footage that we're adding on the second floor is being offset by doing that. And that second floor space will actually be dedicated to the owner of the building. So it's not becoming multi-tenanted. It has been designed to become multi-tenanted should they ever sell the building, but that's not the intent. The square footages were already outlined. We're adding 113 on the first floor. We're adding 2,048 on the second floor for a combined total of 2,161 square feet. The character of the building, we're actually maintaining it. As far as the existing look. So if you go to the first rendering, which is RD 21/0.1, the existing building actually has this vertical brick rib and single pane glazing. We're replacing the glazing with a thermal pane. We're keeping the same ribbing. We're pointing the existing brick and cleaning it, so it'll be power washed. The existing stucco will be resurfaced and brought to, we'll call it a nice life and let it bounce. And then the addition is on this side, which is complementing the already existing design. And then this part of the building is a 1-story stucco-looking building, and we're bringing this in line with the rest of the building itself. So we're in keeping with what's being asked for by your ordinance. So in the letter that was presented, we're confirming that there's no violation of your ordinance, section 3530, that's anticipated, which is your architectural design standards, which includes your general guidelines, the building massing and scale, the facade treatment, as well as the materials and texture. The existing building, I happen to have a picture here just for color purposes. Once we power wash the building, the true color of the brick will come out because we feel it has a lot of age on it. So to show you a sample, I have actually some samples that come close to what the brick is, but until we power wash it, we really won't know the true color. But I wanted to show you the color that's existing today, and then the stucco that's here. So you can see I have Vanna behind me showing. I'm sorry, you can't see. There you go. So that's why I just want to point out that it was asked in the letter that the color of the building is going to be very similar to what's there. We're not removing the brick and putting new brick. We're just power washing it and bring back to life.
Let's mark those as A3, believe it or not, and A4, so we know what we just bought.
Well, that right there is actually as close as we can get to this until we actually power wash it. So we can mark that if you like, but I can't tell you it's going to be that, because it could actually be lighter.
Any of the new stuff that you're putting on is going to match?
It's going to be, yes, it's going to enhance the nature of the real brick that's there.
You guys don't, that's not a problem, is it, guys?
Yeah.
Get it, take it home.
Thank you, sir, I appreciate it. Because I don't want you to keep it in your files when you really don't need it.
Jen has Jen has room, she's storage space.
Oh, does she? Okay. That's good, that's good. So going back to the question was asked, it's all office user. The client, owner, is actually using this as their corporate offices and operations center. They have really a waiting area, but it's not meant to be anything but, you know, like impact zone for people, the board to come in and out. So the rest of the space is actually meant for employees to go there. Deliveries, which was not mentioned.
Time out a second?
I'm sorry if I talk too fast.
No, you're talking too slow, but that's a different story.
Oh.
No,
I'll work on it.
I'm only kidding, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, when I saw the building, it hit me whose building it is, and I just believe I may have to recuse myself from it.
I think it appears, Matt, that there's some kind of a loose business relationship. They certainly see each other a lot. It's not just friendship. So I'm going to suggest that he recuse himself, get out of the room.
That's fine.
Or I could sit there.
Is that with the current?
He hasn't
The
said
new buyer, the owner?
any questions even, did
I
you?
had one question about the lot coverage, but
Oh, the lot coverage with the storm. Well, if he didn't ask it,
I was about to.
Andrew was
so
going
He
to.
stole my question.
So the building's changed hands, so
It has?
bought it about a month ago.
Oh, okay, then we're good.
Owners are no longer
Are they gone?
correct.
Oh, okay, then we're good. Atlantic Federal is now the owner of the property.
That's correct.
Okay.
Boom.
Back on.
Nice
We're
try.
back on.
Nice
Yeah.
try. You stay.
Sorry, I didn't realize that they sold.
I promise I only talk for one more minute, so.
No. It's the old owner. We're gonna hold it. No problem.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Okay.
Wanted to be safe.
So in closing,
See their faces?
so it basically, as I was saying, is that they're not going to be doing anything in the way of bringing traffic. So what I was talking about getting to is deliveries. So the only deliveries they're going to have, it would be a FedEx, a UPS, or any sort of paper kind of I'm sorry, did you say that? I'm sorry, I apologize. So anyway, that's the extent of the delivery for their requirements.
Perfect. Keenan, any questions as we're planning? You think the building looks, it's going to be aesthetically pleasing and keep
Yeah, I
with the
mean,
character?
it's a nice, sensitive addition to this building. It's nice to see someone invest in one of these older
Signage.
urban office buildings. You don't see that every day, so I think it's a great opportunity for the town to enhance this property.
Michael?
Yeah, I gave you pictures, I don't know if you have them, so I think your testimony is
Accurate.
All right, just one last thing I want to bring up, because there is a building sign on here that is in compliance of your ordinance, and the sign that we have proposed is a 5 by 16. We're looking at it to be backlit, so it's actually less than what you're allowing, so I'm just making you aware of that, so I didn't want it to be,
5 foot is the maximum height, so.
right,
Okay, you'll work with them on that.
fine, excellent, thank you.
Jerry, now that you can ask questions again?
No, I'm good.
Good.
What impact is the construction gonna have on the two existing tenants?
Thank you for asking that. Can we go to the first floor? That was a trick I had to figure out. We're going to treat this as kind of like a two-building building. So all the existing tenants are actually on the second floor of the existing building. So what we're going to be doing is actually renovating the entire first floor. So we're going to take out everything, demo it. We're going to actually build this piece right here, which is the one-story piece. It will actually have the electrical, voice, data, the MEPs, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, the restrooms required, the points of ingress and egress. So this actually can operate while we're renovating the two-story part of the building. So what we're doing is a two-phase project. So we're actually doing this first phase. We're going to move the tenants here and build out their space, and then we're going to build this piece of space. So the owner is going to be the last in. That's the way it works.
Okay, thank you.
Did I answer?
You absolutely did.
Good.
Sharon? I'll skip me. Go ahead, you go.
So regarding the signage, so you'll have the wall-mounted sign on the north side, and then also you'll have a freestanding?
The monument, yes.
Okay. So you had mentioned that you're probably not done with this until April 2021.
Correct.
Our township business improvement district is just starting to work on some design standards, including signage for our downtown. Now, granted, you're not in our downtown or in a redevelopment zone, but you're kind of close. So what I wouldn't mind is hopefully by April 2021, the bid will actually have some of those.
You guys are efficient. It'll probably be January you get it done.
We'll see. I'm on that committee, so it might take a really long time. So what I would just ask is as those are published and as you guys get closer to being ready to actually put up the signage, to maybe coordinate with our business improvement district. Jen can get you in touch with them, and if we can make the signage sort of the same style.
Compliant to your guidelines?
Exactly. It won't be colors and things like that. It's not going to go that, but it might be type of sign or something like that. So I think we would very much appreciate if you, as it gets closer, if you
I would,
coordinate them.
I'll defer to you, but
consistency.
I would only say, the bank was established in 1934, and the logo has been pretty much been what it's been. But
I'm not saying change
McDonald's
logos, we're not going to
changes
change
things
logos.
when they go into different towns.
No,
but yeah.
there's not going to be any logo changes, there's not going to be color changes, but we are working through box lit signs versus the channel, so my ask is, and this doesn't have to be formal, but since there seems to be enough time, if you can, once the bid publishes what it's doing, if we can coordinate and if we can get something that looks sort of contiguous with what we're doing with our new buildings downtown, that would be wonderful.
So we'll have the board strongly encourages the applicant to reach out to bid to see if they can make things look and feel of what is the case. That's good. Scott?
Two lines of questioning. One, you mentioned the ADA upgrades. The 2 points of ingress, egress that are not the main entrance, the ones on the opposite sides of the building?
This is actually means of egress from the second floor. So while we're altering the first floor, there's an existing stair today.
Okay.
Will have to be maintained so the tenants on the second floor obviously have ingress and egress. And the same thing will occur here. So where this dark line is kind of that D mark. So everything this way will actually be the first floor alteration. Take the second floor tenant, bring them down. Then we're able to do the stair on this side. We have the elevator. We'll do the stair on this side and the stair on this side, and there won't be any occupants on the second floor.
You addressed that in your initial.
Okay, maybe I missed the question.
I didn't ask it yet.
Oh.
I was setting it up. So my line of questioning was more about if those points were going to be used and you're adding sidewalk, is there enough space for ADA compliant sidewalk?
The ADA compliant is right here where the handicap spaces are.
So you don't need to make any modifications?
No, and actually these doors that are here, these are actually sliding doors as opposed to a revolving or swing door. So it makes it even easier for people to access the building. They're very sensitive to the ADA law.
And then I guess the other question I had is by adding the leasable area on the second, or the square footage on the second floor, was there structural impact?
Yes.
So you have to do structural support?
That's why this piece of space has to be altered first, so that the second floor is done, and then when we go to alter it, it's just improvements of the interior, so that the footings, the steel reinforcement, the column reinforcement, whatever is necessary, will be taken care of.
They've got quiet enjoyment clauses in their leases, I'm assuming?
They'll be happy. We'll take
The
care
other
of it.
tenants? Okay.
Actually, there's a very serious separation here, because it almost looks like this was two buildings at one time, and they've been this has been added to this two-story building.
Just as far as the phasing is concerned, it is our intention to renovate the entire first floor at one time, so to create the area not only for the tenants, but also for Atlantic Federal, and then move our way up to the second floor.
I just want to clarify, we are not doing that. We're altering this here, we're going to do part of this here, because we can't do the stairs going up until the tenant's out. So I'm just, okay.
Okay, Sil?
No questions.
Marissa?
Okay, so you said there's currently 2 tenants?
There,
There's 2 tenants? How many tenant spaces? I'm looking, and it looks like there's more than 3 rentable tenant spaces.
okay, on the one-story part of the building, there's this piece of space and this piece of space. The tenants on the second floor, there are 3 tenants. So depending upon how much space they take, because one doesn't know how much the tenant, and because their space is going to be more efficient here, so they could take less space or they could take more based on their business. So theoretically, this could be one tenant and this could be another, but let's just say theoretically, probably no more than 3.
Just I was a little confused because it looked like there was multiple tenant spaces.
On this side is Atlantic Federal Credit, and they're going to be 2-story space.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Ultimately, how the building will be partitioned is unknown, so it's not as though we're proposing the application to have no more than 3, no more than 4 tenants. It was really more or less just for illustrative purposes. How the balance of the vacant portion will be divided up remains to be seen.
So just to address that, because we have the means of egress here, we have a means of egress here and a means of egress here, so we've addressed all the means of egress as it relates to any sort of tenancy in the building. The restroom count meets the requirement for that square footage of a building, so there's no additional restrooms that need to be added. The elevator is obviously something that the owner needs or would like to have in their building, and the stairs should be brought up to what they should be.
Perfect. Do you guys have anything further?
Nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so at this time, I'm going to take the opportunity to open up this application to any members of the public. Any members of the public that wish to come forward and speak? There's a lot of people. Take your time. Seeing none, I'm going to close this matter to the public and open it up to the board for discussion. Marissa, any questions, concerns? It seems pretty straightforward. Sil?
Nope.
Scott?
Okay. No issues.
Jerry? Now that you can talk.
I just want to echo what Keenan says. I think this is a good improvement for the town.
Jared? Glenn, you want to say anything?
I do.
I was going to have him summarize what he was asking.
You can do that first,
Yeah.
but then I got some questions for him.
Go ahead.
because- Well, I think they're asking for preliminary and final site plan approval. They're asking for a variance for an existing non-conformance. If in fact the board grants that variance, my position would be that then the building is in complete conformance, then you have it. So instead of worrying about it being a non-conformance, if it gets whacked by a superstorm, Chuck, or whatever comes in, you got the variances, so all of that will run with the land. You won't have to worry about that from a financing standpoint. So that's one thing I would recommend. The other thing, the other relief that you're asking for was just for the generator, because generators aren't specifically permitted. And I think that covered it.
Parking, what was with parking? That we're gonna-
Parking was conforming.
No, I meant that we're going to have them bang.
Well, yeah, we're going to get to that. I got a more significant issue, I think, but I'm looking at my professionals right now. You're asking for preliminary and final site plan approval. As far as I'm concerned, I'm thinking that if you get final, and you're not going to do the work for 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever, and I'm talking about the exterior work. The interior work, we have no control over whatsoever. But with the parking lot and the other improvements, there at least could be an argument, and if Mike says, don't worry about it, that's good enough for me. There could be an argument that you ought to post a performance guarantee because you're coming in for final and the improvements aren't made yet. My thought is that you ask for preliminary site plan approval with the other relief. You can occupy, you can do anything that you want, as somebody sitting behind you knows. You can do anything that you want on the site, and then when you're ready with your final as-built, you just make sure, Mr. Dykstra knows this too, you make sure that you come in with your final as-built. It's about a 3-minute hearing, there's no notice or anything. If you had a date certain that you wanted us to, we could even carry the final site plan. I don't know whether that screws up any financing or other things, but I think I'm saving you the cost of the performance guarantee.
Yeah, before Mr. Disco responds, just to kind of set the stage a little further about who the applicant is here. So not only are we the property owner, but we're also going to be the largest occupier within the building. And we have roots in the community. So as a credit union, we have to service both those that reside and work, live in Essex and Union County.
Yeah.
So we're a community-based business here. It's not our intention to come in and only do it half the way.
No, you're missing.
No, I appreciate the
I
thought.
think I just put $100,000 in your pocket.
Well, yeah, I appreciate the offer to not bond it. I mean, under the new regulations, you couldn't bond it anyway. But
Sure.
only off-track improvements now can be bonded.
I'm not so sure about that when you're actually using it. I was on the committee that helped to draft that, but I'm not arguing with you, and that's why I'm asking Mike. I'm just trying to figure out whether, you have any strong feelings, you don't care if we grant final and
Either way.
don't worry about it, but
Whatever the chairman.
if
I'd rather
Michael
not,
says it's, if
I'd
Mike
rather
says
not
it's-
have them back if they don't need to come
Well,
back.
I'm not pushing them back, I was pushing money back in their pocket, because I'm not so sure that this absolutely qualifies, because it's an unsafe condition. And that was more my concern, and there are some carve-outs in that legislation. If Mr. Disco is fine with that, then that's fine, but then I think we ought to have just a date certain as to when the improvements will be, and I don't care what it is, let's just pick something.
I think we're fine with April of 2021. The
To
board-
commence or to complete?
We've already, if you didn't buy, we're already getting ourselves set up to start the renovation work. So it'd be, our goal is to be complete and in possession.
Okay, so we'll put April 2020, we'll put April 30th, 2021.
I appreciate that.
Okay?
Just give 30 more days, yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
They're not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. Okay, do I have a motion, board? So we were asking for, to approve application,
2015 to dash 2019.
19, with the variance for the existing nonconformity,
That is gonna become conforming,
become conform,
and also for the generator.
and the generator, and then that we're allowing them to bank, how many spots?
5.
Five, is it 5 or 6? Six spots for future use, to be used if deemed necessary. That's kind of the motion, but you can motion it yourself.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make the motion for the approval of application 15-2019S, Atlantic Federal Credit Union, 2-8 Edison Place, /7 Edison Place, Block 301, Lot 2, and Block 22210, Lot 2, for preliminary and final site plan with the variances as you
Can you
just
read that again
described.
for me?
No, I can barely see this.
Can I have a roll call?
Who seconded?
I did.
Okay, Mr. Barnett,
Yes.
Mr. Fernandez,
Yep.
Mr. Schwartz,
Yes to approve.
Ms. Wasbowski,
Yes.
Ms. Ruggiero,
Yes.
Mr. Wishna,
Yes.
Vice Chair Kessel,
Yes.
and Chairman Tyson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Good, welcome to Springfield. Okay, so the next thing the board, we have, which is not on the agenda, is an amendment to ordinance 2018-12. Everyone should have it over here. Michael, do you want to address this with the board? Real quick.
Want to give them
All-
a minute to look at it?
It's fine, whatever. All this is just, Mike's gonna review it, we're just gonna send this over with a recommendation that the governing body look at it and adopt, and put it through the ordinances. They don't have to do anything, they can rip it up, they can take it under consideration. Go ahead.
The ordinance that we're looking at is fairly new. It was probably the brainchild of the board as a result of some of the subdivision work that was going on, that we should have a construction safety fencing among other things. So the town drafted an ordinance, and just our experience 1 year into it, we're just trying to amend it somewhat, so.
Do you just want to go over the few points real quick?
Sure. So, the first page has potential updates or revisions, and then there's 3 pages of the actual ordinance. And that ordinance is within a section of the general code, not the land use ordinance, and it's really where the building or UCC construction department is. And so they, for the most part, dealing with construction fencing, since they're the ones doing the inspections. So we're adding the word location to the, in E2A. So on the second page, we're just adding the location, so that kind of ties in with what happened with Gomes, where the location of the fence was actually in the roadway as opposed to off the roadway. Open type wasn't specified in there that a fence would be open type, so I think the preference from police standpoint would be open type so you can see in there. You have a solid wall as we do now, there's no ability for anybody to look over that fence or see into it. God forbid somebody goes in there and falls, nobody can see it. So with language providing for exceptional circumstances, we think that's a good thing. No fences permitted within rights-of-way. We see that repeatedly where fencing encroaches over the property line. Most people believe they have the property all the way to the road, so that's somewhat understandable. So we would like to add that. Sidewalk encroachment, we've also seen where the fencing or the fence posts infringe upon the sidewalk, so people then have to walk into the street, which has been identified as one of the headaches. And then some catch-all language there, any fence which creates a safety condition. We're just trying to give ourselves some flexibility since we seem to have some trouble on certain construction in place.
Mike, was there a time limit that the fence could be up that we were looking at?
No, so I added the language here, the duration of the construction safety fencing should be something that, when it's included in the building permit, that should be specified.
Okay.
Obviously, we looked at also the language that is in the UCC and the building codes and that they're governed by. So they have actually 3-year windows that they have to have, start to completion. It's undesignated. It's only if you go a year without any activity that you can then say the building permit is not in effect anymore. So it's very constrained what you can do from the building department end.
Okay.
So you can't really counter that, so I think we're just trying to, in certain cases, you gotta specify the duration.
Okay. So, again, this would, you guys will open up to the board, but this is nothing, we're just gonna take a formal action saying that we're gonna send this over to the governing body to review, to incorporate in the ordinance that the board helped write in 2018, 2012. So, Marissa, any questions for Mike?
I don't think so.
Sil?
Nope.
Scott? I'm good. David?
That looks good.
Karen? Andrew?
Yes. E2G. Any fence which creates a safety condition shall be removed, reconfigured, or relocated upon oral notification and followed up with written notice. How soon after oral notification?
So it triggers back to the original, has some timing in there. So, for instance,
Are
if
you looking at section 6?
penalties, enforcement,
5A,
you're gonna use the term oral communication and then written, there's 8 hours. So basically 1 workday for a violation with a fine. So we're just trying to tie it to that same language.
I was looking at 6, which gives 10 days. That's why I missed 5. All right.
Jerry?
So that was after enactment, so that was the catch-all to get
Right,
back.
which is why I asked the question, because it didn't seem to match up.
When does the second violation kick in, the 500 per day? How does that work? 250 per day for every day line. For every day line. Kind of confused.
So I think it's just, second violation means if you've been through a round of a notice and a violation, and a new violation or a reoccurrence of a violation would then be deemed the second violation. I think they just did it to escalate the penalties to kind of put a stop to something that was recurrent, I could imagine.
Okay, so I just want
Just
to,
cumulative violations, I suppose.
Okay.
so the board, we don't have to make a formal vote. Anyone have any concerns with, we're just going to have Mike send this, draft this to the township administrator to ask them to look at it and put it on the agenda potentially to incorporate in the fence ordinance.
And they can change it anyway.
And they can change it, and then if they change it so significant, they may choose to send it back to us or may not.
They have to send it.
They have to send it back to us. Okay. Like I said.
Get it out.
Good, okay, well, thank you. All right, so the last thing on the agenda is, we're gonna go in executive session to discuss litigation matters of attorney-client privilege. What do you want, do you have to read something, or you just?
Somebody want to get the door in the back?
Yeah, we will, but we have to read this in the record first.
off the camera, we gotta do all that stuff.
Well, no, we have to
We-
vote.
We have to
vote.
we have to
vote. actually go
Keep
in.
going.
Yes, so can I
Close,
have,
close, stay there. We're gonna go fast.
can I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No.
All right, we're going into executive session under exception of the Open Public Meetings Act. The reason we're going into it is to discuss pending or potential litigation. This discussion will not be made public at this time until such time as the board deems it necessary and appropriate and legal to do so. And that should do it.
Okay, so we'll just close the door and shut the cameras.
Yeah, I want to make sure. I'll close the door. How about?